Welcome back to Good Morning Interbike. Thanks for joining us here at interbike.com/live. Make sure you tell your friends to join us today and tomorrow. We'll be on again at 8:30 in the morning Pacific time. I am joined now. Remember I told you yesterday that we'd have movers and shakers in the bike business? He doesn't like me to call him that, but I'm really pleased to be joined by Skip Hess. He's the CEO of Electra Bicycle Company.
Yep.
Skip, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we were reminiscing about how much time we've been in the industry and how many Interbikes we've been to.
Yeah.
We won't go back into how long we've been here, but tell everybody, just before we talk about this beautiful machine in front of us and a little bit about your current company, how'd you get your start in the bike business?
I kind of, it was destiny for me. I mean, I didn't really get a whole lot of choice, you know. My dad started a bike company, and when your dad starts a bike company, it's kind of natural you go to work for your dad, you know. And started with working with my dad actually full-time on a paycheck when I got out of college in 1980.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you know, you're being modest, a bike company. I mean, that it's kind of an iconic brand.
It was an interesting time. It was really, you know, it was a wide open, you know. The name of our company was BMX Products before BMX was really even identifiable as an activity or a sport or even a market segment. And, you know, our brand was Mongoose. But BMX Products was where we started the company because Mongoose really didn't become a bike brand for a while after the company got started, you know. And, we started BMX Products and kind of, you know, set the tone for what I consider to be a lot of the innovation in the industry for the next 20 years, you know. I mean, to me, mountain bikes are still just big BMX bikes with gears, you know. And
no matter what wheel size, 26, 29,
big
doesn't
BMX
matter.
bikes, you know, because all that stuff that mountain bikes do, you know, that's where BMX started.
Interesting.
You know?
Back in the Byron Friday days.
Yeah,
and
sure. There's a whole ton of us still hanging around. You know?
Amazing. Now, from Mongoose?
Yeah, from Mongoose, you know, after we sold Mongoose, I went down and worked for Giant when they were a startup, and that was '87, a startup company, and
that's actually where you and I met. Was when you were at Giant. Mark Pippin was working with you.
Yeah, I took Mark away from Rio over at Tioga, and he was working with Johnny T.
And I filled Mark's spot for Rio.
For Rio.
That's how I ended up there. Yeah,
and Mark had done a lot of work with Johnny, and Johnny had, you know, connections with us back in Mongoose because Robbie and, you know, Johnny's wife and that whole, you know, thing. And Mark was there, and I stayed at Giant for about 5 years as a startup. And then the Schwinn bankruptcy emerged.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of interesting phone calls about, hey, do you want to jump in and buy Schwinn? And I didn't think there was a snowball's chance, you know, and Chuck Ferries and Stendhal came and asked me to help get involved, and I said, I'll give you everything I got, which isn't a whole lot, but I'll give you everything I got, and we wrote a plan, and by golly, yeah, so I spent, you know, a year in Chicago after the bankruptcy buyout, and then we moved the company to Boulder and did that fun episode, you know, and after that went the way it did, which broke some of our hearts, but it went the way it did. I went back to Giant.
Right.
And that was kind of weird, you know. They called me up and said, hey, you know, we're not doing as good as we'd like to. Would you like to give it a shot? And I said, yeah, I want to come back home. And so I spent the next 9 years at Giant.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now Electra.
Electra, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the genesis of Electra. Where did it really come from? Because it sort of arrived on the scene and really sort of took a lot of people by storm.
Yeah, they were a great, you know, Benno and Janot, who started the company, you know, I first met them at their first Interbike, which I think was 93.
Okay.
And I was just at Schwinn and, you know, had been down in the basement looking at all the old drawings and all the engineering and talking with Al Fritz and Berlando's and all the legends there. And came to the show, and Benno and Janot got a cruiser sitting on the stand, and it's not very good. You know, it was their first one, a couple German guys, you know, made in Taiwan. And I said, I can help you out finding some cranks and stems and bars. You want some help? And they're like, we are not needing your help. And about 6 weeks later, Janot called me back and said, I'm the guy who's treating you so poorly in the show. And so we struck up a friendship. And, you know, they really had this vision that a lot of us take for granted. You know, they were two guys from Europe who came to California and saw the sun and the sand and the surf and the lifestyle and said, oh my God, this is unbelievable. We want to embrace this. We want to celebrate it. We want to create things that share that passion. And growing up in Cali like we did as kids, it's like, doesn't everybody live like this? Isn't this normal? And so they had a very, very deep passion for making something very special about that culture. And I think because they dedicated themselves to making something special about that culture and giving people a product that became a possession, a lifestyle embrace, rather than a physical activity or a competitive activity or an intellectual pursuit or a mechanical chase. They were really about making a bike that people fell in love with. And I think that did take a lot of people by storm, because in our industry, that's kind of a funky language, you know?
Yeah, it's you got to be wearing Lycra, or you have to be wearing a full face helmet. It's
how
not
far, how fast,
exactly.
how quick, how light, how strong. And they came out and said, well, how beautiful and how much fun. And that was a totally different language. And so, we struck up a friendship, and I helped them through my Schwinn years. And actually, when I went back to Giant and did that from '99 on the second run, I hired Benno to do all my color and graphic, because he's just a really, really terrific designer.
Yeah.
And he did that for me for 6 or 7 years. And so we've been tight for a long time, the guys at Electra. But I've always admired their way of saying, you know what, we want to be a little different, a little unique. We want to talk to people in a different way. We want to produce a product that people embrace and fall in love with, and can say it's special to me.
So what endures from that? What really makes Electra unique among the brands?
I think we have a DNA which is entirely different than a lot of bike brands. We don't really consider ourselves a brand. We want to be a love mark. We want people to have a loyalty to us that goes beyond a sensibility.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta have one of those. I'll wait for it. I'll pay more for it. I'll do whatever it takes. I just gotta have one of those. Right. And really, we put a tremendous amount of effort into shape, movement, color, graphic, attention to detail. Every one of our products gets a unique saddle and a unique grip and a unique rim, and uniqueness has its penalties, right?
Yeah.
Uniqueness means you need to make something special, and making something special means you need to spend a little bit of extra time and a little bit of extra money and a little bit of extra commitment. And it's not easy in a manufacturing world like ours to make something that's unique and requires extra effort. There's money and time, and they try to talk you out of it. Oh, just put the black ones on it,
right.
Because they're a lot easier for us to get, and we don't give in to any of those pressures, And 33 years of living in a manufacturing environment in the cycling industry, where I started in America, went to Japan, went to Taiwan, went to China. I've been in the manufacturing environment in all those locations for my entire life.
Yeah.
And I know how to build bikes. And these bikes are difficult to build simply because they're all so specially unique.
Makes sense.
Hand done. But the differentiation point we have is how our bike looks and how that makes you feel when you have it as yours, right? Our differentiation point isn't mechanical or structural or specification or price or weight or podium. Our difference is that is a beautiful thing that's mine.
Right. And that's what I hear a lot about Electra. Wow, what a gorgeous bike. Look at the appointments. Look at this. And that really is, it's sort of a soul of cycling.
It's sometimes underappreciated, that amount of effort. But, when we talk to people who buy our bikes and use our bikes, and they say, I love my Electra. It's always my Electra. It's not an Electra.
Nice.
And I think that in itself is enough personal reward, right? Where people say, man, I not only love you guys, I love what you gave me. It's mine.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to make products that you can be proud to say, let me tell you how much love went into making that product.
So let's talk about this bike that we've got in front of us. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, this is the Townie Go, and it's a pedal assist bike. And, I have a lot of experience in that kind of left of center e-bike market, right, which really hasn't gained a lot of traction in America, and a lot of people have tried it.
Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of it, a lot of the stuff that's been produced has been kind of Rube Goldberg kind of pieced together. You got to have an ohm meter and a pocket protector and a light stick, and you got to understand how it works. And there's anxieties about distance and range and weight and how does it work, and do I need a sag truck behind me if I'm going to be gone for the day, and but I do think that there's significant advancement, improvement, and technical achievement in this pedal assist segment that make this product very, very special.
For those who maybe aren't familiar,
Yeah.
define pedal assist and the SRAM system on this bike.
Yeah, the SRAM E-Matic system, we've been working on this with SRAM. I've been working on it with Rob Capucci over there for 4 years.
Okay.
Actually, when I was still not really employed and I was consulting, I was working with Rob on development of the system to create a very intuitive, easy to operate, push a button, get on, ride the bike e-system that could be done in a manufacturing environment on a large scale. So this is a pedal assist, which means as you sit on the bike and apply pressure, there's a torque sensor that says, somebody is applying torque.
Mm-hmm.
A controller converts that message into an electronic signal to the battery to tell the battery, send some energy to the motor because we need some help.
Yeah.
It only activates when you're riding, and it senses your speed and your torque application. That's unique in a pedal assist versus a e-bike, which a lot of e-bikes have a throttle-only function, where you don't even have to spin the pedals. You just push a button or twist a throttle,
right.
And you're using electric energy to propel you.
In a lot of ways,
this requires a user interface.
Yes.
Actually, you have to ride your bike to get the benefit.
A lot of those are almost electric motorcycles, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun. They put a smile on your face, but it kind of defeats the purpose of cycling. You know,
Right.
I mean, it's just a way of getting it easy, I guess. This is a pedal assist system, and it's very unique in that it has a captive environment for a lot of the electronic controls. The torque sensor, the controller, the gearbox are all captive in the hub. Mm-hmm. The battery management and the battery are captive in the battery system. So when you look at this bike right off the bat, you go, it's an e-bike? Really? Yeah. Where's all the cables? Where's all the wires? Where's the LEDs? Where's the power modes? Where's the anxiety switches? No, they don't exist.
You know what's funny is that as you were talking, I don't know if you noticed, the first thing I did was I looked over at the handlebars, and I'm like,
yeah.
Wait, where's the controller?
How do I know?
There? Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I really think that was one of the core design elements when we began the project, was not only to make it intuitive and simple and easy for a production environment, but easy for a user to say, you know, I can just get on, push a button, and ride.
Got it.
And that's all there is to using this bike.
Yeah.
I just displayed now you get on, you ride. It's a variable assist, and it has 2 different torque applications. So even though it's a single cog bike, which is very elegant and simple and easy and intuitive, it will vary the torque ratio based on speed and input. So it feels much more than just a single speed bike. You actually feel a gear transition between high torque and low torque, like an automatic shift, hence the E-Matic nomenclature from SRAM.
Got it.
So SRAM's got a huge investment of time and energy in it. I have a huge investment of time and energy invested in it. We're launching it as a global platform. The bike in front of you here is the same exact bike we'll sell in the EU market. So it's a global platform with a dynamo and a front lamp. And I'm pretty excited about it. I think what our goal really is to take our current recreational, less frequent, more casual user who maybe a 10-mile ride is a big deal for them. Mm-hmm. I want to give them a bike that they can spend the weekend on. Or if I can get them to go from 1 or 2 days a week riding their bike to 4 or 5, broaden their time with their bike, broaden their experience with their bike, broaden their capability with their bike. Boy, isn't that the reason we're all in business in the first place, right?
Absolutely.
And so we have a tremendous amount of Townie clients and customers who love their Townie, but a long journey on a Townie for them is really not in the cards.
Yeah.
And this bike changes that for them. And I find that really exciting. So we're pretty excited about the bike. We've got a lot of effort into it. We're going to do a lot of talking about it and a lot of seeding and a lot of retailer interface before we worry about how many we sell and all that kind of garbage, you know.
It's important.
I want the finance stuff to come after the passion stuff, right? And
how's the response been here at the show, and how's the show been just in general?
I got to tell you, yesterday was robust. You know, I mean, it's only day 2, and I kind of feel like I've been beat up already. I mean, it was busy yesterday morning. It took a little break at lunch, and it picked right back up again at 1:30. A lot of activity, a lot of attendance, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of smiles. Not a lot of tire kicking and grumping around. It's a damn good show. Yeah, it's been great.
So, with all the doom and gloom out there about the economy and things like that, and we were talking earlier, right? People say, oh, the trade show business is dead, but here you're telling me you had a great show. You're having a great show.
Just about every time you think that you don't need to go to a trade show anymore, you show up and it's a brotherhood, it really is. It's a social brotherhood for us in the bike business, all of us, whether you've been in a short time or a long time. You walk in the door here and you forget everything because there's a bunch of people that you haven't seen in a year or 2 years or 3 years, but there they are smiling with a handshake and a hug, and it's like, wow, nice to see you again. And I think that in itself, that connection point is pretty powerful, right?
Absolutely.
So I think the show right now is awesome. I think Interbike has a lot to be proud of right now.
That's great. And what are your dealers telling you? And are you bringing? Well, even more importantly, are you bringing new dealers on every day? Is that sort of a focus for you?
No, it's really not. I'm really not in the prospecting mode. The company's 20 years old, Electra, and when you grow a business, you open retailers often and early, and as you grow up a little bit, kind of like in your life, you grow up a little bit. Your true friends kind of shrink down to and we're kind of in that element of a life phase where we'd really like to have a stronger core group of committed retailers than just trying to sell stuff to everybody.
Yeah.
But selling our product should be special, and the environment should be special, and so our retailers should be special. And if everybody's got your stuff, then it's not special anymore, right?
That's a great point. It's a great point.
So we always entertain discussions with folks, and we're very friendly and social, but prospecting isn't really on our calendar right now.
Got it. If people want more information about this bike or any of your bikes, your website?
www.electrabike.com.
Excellent. Skip, great to see you. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Interbike. It's
awesome.
really been great.
Thank you.
We are going to be back in just a couple of minutes with Aaron Sprague from Specialized, so stick around. Make sure you go ahead and check out Electra Bikes. They've got some really nice designs, sort of that soul of cycling for you. I think that you'll really enjoy looking at it. So stick around with Good Morning Interbike. We'll be back in just a few minutes at interbike.com/live.